only thing we do have is Glenn will need to bring up an item in open business.
I got it,
Okay.
I got a copy of it, yeah, we can do that. Plus, we have we have the reappointments of some of the zoning appeals commissioners.
Okay.
Some of them up at the last minute.
Okay.
Okay.
We have names.
Yeah. Isn't it in there? We've got NSC, Hayden, and Vandercliff.
Yeah.
That'll
planning
be
commission, right?
30.
Oh, wait,
22 is planning commission.
I have, yeah, Tim went from this room.
It'll be for the zoning board of appeals. Julia Tennessee, Jack Hayden, and Steve Sandiford.
Okay.
Now, we'll make that, what are we up to now, 33? I don't know, whatever. Okay. Number 6 is going to be a receive and file. I can't wait for this one. The teacher from Holland Middle School and her students are going to make a presentation as part of their social studies and literacy project. And they're going to recommend improvements to Heritage Park.
You're going to recommend improvement?
Yeah,
Okay.
that should be cute.
Yeah.
Hopefully that won't take too long. Number 7. Oh, this is the Pinewood Condominiums. This came before Planning Commission last week. And this is just basically renewing something we had already voted on to go from a more dense complex to a less dense, and we're just going to go from, I think it was 124 units to start with down to 50. Yeah.
Okay, Jeff Baum couldn't make it tonight, but basically there were no permits issued within the 18-month time frame.
Right.
That since this has been approved, so there's no changes. This is basically a pre-approval.
Okay.
Planning Commission, as the chairwoman indicated, did unanimously approve this already. It was taken out to bid. There were only 2 bids, so it was taken back out to bid, and there were 5 people at the pre-bid. So we're pretty confident that we're going to receive at least 3 bids this time.
Item 8 is just for next month's payroll. Number 9, this is for pest control at the library.
Alex's office.
And, yeah, Alex's office.
You're just gonna come in and
Is
say,
that
get
your
out.
problem?
It does.
You shouldn't have left that candy by the phone.
Yeah, right now there's nothing in my office. So.
And number 10, this, are we gonna go back to this in?
At the end.
Okay. Number 10.
10 and 11, we can go at the end of close work.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. Number 12, okay, this is Mr. Saph. He's going to make a presentation for us on this, for property and liability insurance for the city.
Yes. Welcome, Mr. Saph. Thank you for coming out this evening to go over the renewal. I did email the council. It was almost a 100-page proposal document, so probably a little too much of the AS400. And then also a letter with a very nice recap that Steve put together for us. I know he'll go over the renewals, the market analysis that was done, and really what makes up the 7% for the renewal. So I'll turn it over to Mr. Saph.
Good evening, Stephen Saph Jr. with Nickel Saph Insurance. Before you is the renewal of the city's property and liability coverage. This encompasses the property fire insurance for your buildings, your equipment, vehicle physical damage coverage, equipment for your mobile equipment, coverage for your mobile equipment, and liability coverages inclusive of the general liability, the law enforcement liability, public officials, employment-related practices, and automobile liability. So this is a comprehensive program that encompasses those exposures that occur on a day-to-day basis. What's before you, the summary letter that I generated is a document that commences right out of the gate with the annual renewal premium. The offering this year, after some review and negotiation, is at $999,257, inclusive of the federal terrorism coverage. This is a 7.8% increase, or an increase of $72,335. If you look to the second page, I identify the city's, if there's any questions, please interrupt me right ahead. On the second page, I identify historic information regarding the city's incurred claims, premiums paid, and the developed loss ratio. When we speak about an incurred claim, we talk about claims that are both open and closed. So a carrier sets what they call a reserve or an estimate. So we're encompassing open reserves, open estimates, and those hard dollars that have been paid, either in the defense of open claims to date or for claims that have been settled and closed. The city acts as a self-insured entity in relationship to first dollar exposure. So the city has out-of-pocket expenses before the insurance company comes into play. The city has a separate contract with ASC.
Alternative Service Concepts.
And ASC is your third-party administrator who handles and works with those claims the minute they're reported. So when that incident notice comes in, when that claim is presented to the city, there's a representative at ASC who is investigating that file, trying to determine the city's liability, denying the claim or negotiating a claim. And we get in a situation on occasion where we exceed the city's self-insured retention and pop into the carrier's limit of liability. So that first matrix identifies those expenses and related premium for the claims that had reached into the city's carrier's coverage level. The matrix below reflects those claims and expenses within the city's retention. So if you would add the sum of the incurred year for 2009 for both matrices, you'd see the total expense related to claims.
Steve, I just wanted to make one comment about the number of claims column at 94. That particular year was, we had a very high level of pothole claims. So that I noticed, and going back and looking at the loss run.
2013-14? Yeah.
Yes, there was an enormous amount of pothole claims that were filed, so that's why you kind of see a spike. Similarly, we also had some mailbox claims in there, and then some DTE claims too. Yeah, so.
And that last year, 2014-15, obviously is not fully developed yet. Because that year is not, the report hadn't reflected a full 12 months. The city does retain, and this proposal does continue to reflect a $50,000 retention for all lines of coverage with the exception of law enforcement, which is a $100,000 retention. And this continues to reflect the same deductibles for property and automobile. Recently, we had a situation with an automobile claim in which your driver was not at fault. There was substantial damage to the vehicle, and under the broad form collision, we were able to recover that entire deductible, so there's no expense to the city. So the program is working from that regard. As you continue on the bottom of page 2 and top of page 3, these are the details that were presented to me by the underwriter as they calculated and attempted to justify the rate increase, the premium increase. We talk about the increase in budget expenditures, the increase in the employee count, the increase in the number of sworn officers in the city's police department, vehicle count. TIV is total insured value. So the APD TIV is automobile physical damage total insured value. So we bumped that limit up a little over $500,000. Property, again, the total insured value, we've increased that about 4.3% from 168 million to 176. And then we did have a decrease in the inland marine from 5.6 to 5.3. And any closer with selling the building on E-Course? if those transactions occur during the policy year, we're gonna amend the policy and provide a refund. So as we look at those changes from a property standpoint, there would be a return premium. We don't make charges on the automobile. The fleet schedule is fleet automatic because of the nature of municipalities where these changes may occur on a fairly regular basis. But at the end of the day, there's normally a pretty static vehicle count, so we don't get into the changes in that regard, but we're not going to retain premium in the case of the property exposure.